Julia Child once said, "No one is born a great cook, they learn by doing." Child also said the real test of a good chef is a perfectly roasted chicken. Well, this recipe isn't for roasted chicken, it is for a perfect, fantastic sauteed lemon chicken that will make dinner a breeze and make you want to cook for your friends. As a college student, my cooking skills are far from refined, but this recipe makes me feel like a professional chef and makes me want to invite people over. Dinner no longer has to be bland or boring, and it doesn't have to be a drag to plan. Fast food will seem like not an option anymore because you want to go home and cook for yourself. This also makes dinner a light and healthy option, making sure that you keep fit during your college years and don't find those freshmen 15. All you need for this recipe is chicken breast, butter, olive oil, artichokes, capers, and lemon juice before you're cooking like Julia Childs herself. The first step of this recipe is to prepare your ingredients. Southern Living Cookbook suggests to cut chicken breasts in half by flattening them with a rolling pin in between parchment paper. Make sure your raw chicken doesn't touch any surface and is kept in between the parchment paper. After the chicken is flattened, dredge the chicken in a mix of flour, salt, and pepper. To do this, put flour in a container and flavor salt and pepper to your liking. If you like more pepper, you can make it more peppery, or vice versa with the salt. That one is totally up to you. In a metal skillet, melt 1 tablespoon of butter and olive oil over medium-high heat. Be sure to watch the pan and make sure your butter doesn't burn because all ovens cook differently. Gas ovens tend to cook a little hotter, so you may want to have to turn down your heat a little bit, or if it's not melting fast enough and not getting hot enough, you want to turn your oven up just a little bit. Don't get dramatic with it though and turn it up just a little bit at a time. This part will take less than 3 minutes, making the prep time super short. The next step is to cook your chicken. In your skillet, place the chicken. Betty Crocker suggests cooking for 2 to 3 minutes until the chicken is brown on the outside. During this process, you should flip the chicken routinely, making sure it doesn't burn. If the chicken starts to pop, you might want to turn your skillet down a little bit. If it starts to stick, you can also add a little bit more butter or olive oil to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if it sticks, the breading will come off and then you won't have any breading. If it's not cooking fast enough, you can turn up your heat just a little bit to make sure that it does start to cook. After the chicken is brown, you can stir in your diced onions and bell peppers. As these are poured in, stir continuously. Make sure they don't stick. You can add more olive oil again if you need it, but just make sure they don't stick and stir continuously so they don't burn. You cook these for another 4 minutes, and after you cook them for the 4 minutes, you turn your heat to low. You leave it for a couple minutes just to kind of let everything settle together, and then you want to pour in lemon juice directly into your skillet because this will make your sauce for your chicken and your bell peppers. Make sure you put enough though that it coats the chicken and the vegetables entirely because you don't want anyone to be shorted when they don't have their sauce. You also want to make sure that the chicken has enough that it can be flavored because you also want to make sure it's flavored and good to go. So you want to stir this on low heat until the sauce begins to thicken. You can decide how thick you want your sauce. If you want it more liquidy, don't leave it on the oven as long. Want it more thick, just leave it longer. So now that your chicken is done, you want to cook your sides because those are important. No one just wants an entree. So you take your chicken and your sauce and you put it in a separate dish and put it in your oven to keep it warm. Now if you're going to eat directly after this, you don't have to turn your oven on, but if it's going to be about 30 minutes, you can put your oven on a lower temperature to make sure it stays warm. So after that, you take the same skillet and you put butter and olive oil back in it with a little bit of chicken broth and lemon juice. So you take a fork and you scrape the bottom to make sure you get all the breading that has been stuck because that will help flavor the vegetables you're about to put in there and make sure they take that chicken and that lemon flavor and make them really nice and they will go really well with your chicken. So you want to turn your heat back up to medium and you want to bring the liquid to a simmer. And to make sure it's simmering, it'll start to boil, it'll start to bubble. And so after it starts to bubble, you'll want to let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, making sure that it stays bubbling, but making sure it doesn't scorch. So after it bubbles, you want to stir in your artichoke and capers, and you want to cook these for another minute. And so after those cook for a minute, you'll want to swirl in your butter, and that's again to taste. You can have about 1 tablespoon, but if you like more butter, you can add more butter. If you want less, you can put less. So, and this is another place where you can decide what you want to do and take your own liberties with it. You can taste your sauce and decide if it needs more lemon juice. If you think it does, you can add more. If you like it, then you don't need to. So once you get it to taste, you'll want to take the artichokes and the crepes out, and then you'll put them in a pan by themselves. Make sure the pan has sides because you don't want your sauce to spill over onto your counter. So once you put it in the container, you'll want to pour the extra sauce that you have over your chicken and over your vegetables, and that way there's a nice sauce that your friends can dip it in. So, with this recipe, you'll be able to make a quick, easy, healthy dinner, whether your parents are coming into town or your friends are coming over for a study day for your exam the next day. Just remember to prepare your ingredients ahead of time to make cooking swift and easy. You just need to heat your pan, cook your chicken thoroughly, and saute your vegetables before you serve. And this recipe will soon become a staple in your kitchen, that it doesn't matter whether you're coming home from work late at night or you just have a weekend off and you don't want McDonald's down the street, that you can make for yourself.